Okay, this lesson will be for Algebra 2. This is going to be for the quadratic formula and also how to look at the discriminant and find the nature of roots. Okay, all right, so the quadratic formula, here is the quadratic formula. I want to explain it, okay? First of all, you got to make sure that you're set equal to 0 here, okay? It means you got to get everything to one side of the equation, okay? Now, when you see these letters, this letter, this is your A, the number in front of X is your B, and this is your C. So you got to understand that. Now, as far as the formula goes, okay, the biggest thing that people have to understand is that that means opposite sign. So whatever your B is, I want to put it in the opposite sign. So I've got this set equal to 0. You know what? You want to obviously identify what your A, B, and C are. Okay, all right. Then you want to, you can fill in your formula or find the discriminant. We'll get that. We're going to fill in the formula. All right. So what you got here, that would be positive 5 plus or minus negative 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 14 all over 2 times 1. All I got to do is put the letters in the spots. Now, you got to watch. What we're going to find next is we're going to find the discriminant. Okay? The discriminant is the b squared minus 4ac. That does a couple things for you. On the next slide, I'll talk about how to find the nature of the roots. The big thing is anything squared is going to be positive. So for this one, I got 25 minus, okay, all right, 4 times 1 times negative 4. So go ahead and multiply all these things first. That is going to be negative 56, okay? All right, if I subtract that, I get 81, okay? So that's the discriminant. Then I want to do is take the square root, okay? So I got 5 plus or minus the square root of 81 all over 2 times 1, okay? All right? So the square root of 81 is 9. So I got 5 plus or minus 9 divided by 2. Now, sometimes that square root won't reduce. And we'll go through that examples in a little bit. So I want to take the square root and simplify. Okay? All right? All right. Now I want to see if I can simplify this fraction. All right? Simplify fraction. Okay? All right? So that's 5 plus 9, which is 14, divided by 2 would be 7. That would be one of the answers. 5 minus 9 is negative 4, divided by 2 would be negative 2. Okay? And that would be the other solution. Now, this is probably something you want to factor. Okay? The quadratic formula works for all quadratics. The question is whether you want to use the quadratic formula. If you can factor quickly, factoring usually is the better solution, okay? Now, let's talk about this. Find the discriminant, describe the nature of the roots, solve using the quadratic formula. So this is set equal to 0, so I'm going to bring this 8 back through adding. So that'd be x squared plus 3x plus 8 equals 0. Make sure you have the correct order, all right? This is my A, this is my B, this is my C. So I got negative 3 plus or minus 3 squared minus 4 times 8 all over 2 times 4, okay? Now, let's look at the discriminant, okay? All right, the discriminant, okay, in this case is 3 squared minus 4 times 8, okay? So that's 9 minus 4 times 4, okay, is 4 times 4 times 8, okay, is 128, okay, all right, and so if I subtract 9 minus 128, I get negative 119, okay. Now, what does that mean? This is the discriminant, okay. Here's the thing. If my b squared minus 4ac, you're going to get a couple different results, okay? All right? If you have a perfect square root, you can get that. You can get 0, okay? You can get a positive non-perfect, or you can get a negative number. Those are really your three your options. If you get a perfect square root, you have 2 rational answers. Okay? All right, that's the nature of that root. If you get 0, you're going to have 1 rational. Okay? If you get a positive non-perfect square root, all right, once again, you're going to have 2 rationals. Okay? I'm sorry, you're going to have 2 irrational. Okay, that means you're going to have some kind of square root. And if you get a negative number, you're going to have 2 imaginary. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to have 2 imaginary. If I describe the nature of the roots, I would have 2 imaginary. Okay, so what I got is -3 plus or minus the square root of -119 all over 8. Now -119, okay, all right, if I break down 119, 119 divided by 3, no, 119 divided by 4, no, 119 divided by 5, no, 119 divided by 7. All right, I get 7 and 17. Well, what that, 7 and 17, well, 7 is prime, okay, and so is 17. So what I got is an answer. The only thing I can do is because I got a negative, I'm going to have an I out there. -3 plus or minus I, square root of 119 all over 8. And I cannot simplify that any further. But this is the concept, all right, of those. All right, so this one, I got to move this back. That's 5x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, let's go ahead and find my, if you want to find the discriminant, you can do that, the b squared minus 4ac. You really don't have to do this in any particular order. I got -2 squared minus 4 times 5 times -3. That's going to be 4 minus 4 times 5 is 20 times -3 is -63. Okay, I'm sorry, -60, apologize. Okay, and if I subtract that, 4 minus 8, I'm going to have 64. Okay, now 64 is a perfect square root, so I'm going to have 2 rationals. Okay, all right, now let's go ahead and fill in the rest. All right, opposite would be 2 plus or minus square root of 64. Okay, all over 2 times 5. Okay, because that's A. That's 2 plus or minus 8 all over 10. Okay, all right. So I got 2 plus 8, which is 10, divided by 10 would be 1. I got 2 minus 8, which is -6, divided by 10 would be -3/5. Okay, so 2 rationals. Okay, 2 rationals. All right, that's the nature of the roots. This is the solution. Okay, all right, now this one, that would become positive 14 when it comes back, because I would be adding 14x. Now, a couple things I want to bring your attention to. Make sure your x is in the middle there, okay? That's the order. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the b squared minus 4ac thing. So that's going to be 14 squared minus 4 times 2 times 49. Okay, 14 squared is 196 minus 4 times 2 times 49. Oh, sorry, this is not correct. This is not the problem that I want. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let's start this over again. I want to change this problem. Apologize. I want to make this a 28x. Sorry. I want to make this a 98. sorry about that. Let's redo this. 2x squared minus 28x plus 98 equals 0. Okay, all right. So what I got here, let's redo this. This is going to be 28 or negative 28 squared minus 4 times 2 times 98. Okay, 28 times 28 is 784. Okay, 4 times 2 times 98 is also 784. That's going to be 0, which means I'm going to have one rational. Okay, all right. So if I go in, this is 28 plus or minus square root of 0 all over 2 times 2. That's 28 plus or minus square root of 0 is 0 all over 4. All right, 28 plus 0 is 28 divided by 4 is 7. 28 minus 0 is 28 divided by 4 is still 7. And that's why I have one unique solution there. Do not have two. Okay, that's why it's one rational. Okay, this one I move the 11 back. Okay, let's find the discriminant. Okay, that's going to be negative 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 11. That's going to be 16. 4 times 1 is 4 times that would be 44. I'm going to have negative 28. Well, what does that mean? 2 imaginary. That's what I'm going to have there. Okay, all right. If I break down the 28, okay, that's 2 and 14, it's 2 and 7. With that negative, I got 2i square root of 7 there, okay, because this is my pair. These would eliminate, okay? So what I got is plus or minus 2i square root of 7. This would be 4. This would be 2 times 1, okay? So I got 4 plus or minus 2i square root of 7 all over 2. Now, if you look at these, all three of these can all be divided by 2, okay? So that would be 2 plus or minus 1i square root of 7. And this would all be over 1, so I can just keep that like that. Those would be the solutions, okay? All right, let's go ahead and do this one, okay? So this already set equal to 0, so I'm in good shape. My discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. So I got 4 squared minus 4 times negative 2 times 2. So that's 16 minus 4 times negative 2 is negative 8 times 2 more is negative 16. This minus this is 32. So what does this mean? This is not a perfect square root. This is going to be 2 rationals. I'm sorry, 2 irrationals. 2 irrational solutions. Okay? All right? So if I break down 32, it's 2 and 16, 2 and 8, 2 and 4, 2 and 2. Pair, pair. Okay? So on the outside, I would have 4. And on the inside, I'd have 2. Okay? Opposite of that is negative 4. 2 times negative 2, because that's the A. Negative 4 plus or minus 4 square root of 2, all over negative 4. What can they all be divided by? All of these can be divided by 4. Okay? So in this case, I would have negative 1 plus or minus a 1 square root of 2 all over negative 1. Okay? All right? And that would be the answer. I would not reduce that. You could divide that there and make that positive. That also works, but there would be 2 irrational solutions there. Okay? All right? So what I would like you guys to do is to pause your video. Okay? This is a very short lesson. All right? And go ahead and complete these quadratic formula questions.